Let's combine yesterday and today as we visit rural Germany. Our next visit takes us to some wildly romantic countryside filled with mountains, hardwood and evergreen forests, quaint villages, impressive castles, and an amazing steam railroad.
Just outside a national park in north-central Germany, visitors will find the lively, bustling town of Wernigerode. With a history that goes back to the 11th century, this town was built on trade, but now welcomes large numbers of tourists. Visitors will find the Wernigerode Castle, looking down over the village. They will see a thriving downtown with colorful period shops and an historic town hall. But the big attraction here is a narrow gauge railway, one of the largest operating steam railway lines in Europe. This is the home of the Harzer Schmalspur-Bahn, or the Harz Narrow Gauge Railway. There are 3 rail lines that make up the 140-kilometer Harz system. Started in 1887, the Elke Valley Line is the oldest. Running to Quedlinburg, passengers follow the Elke River and are treated to a combination of rolling fields, hardwood forest, and rushing waters. Next is the Transharz, built in 1897, and running from Wernigerode south to Nordhausen, the largest city in the region. The final section is the Brocken Railway, and as the name suggests, this line winds through the dark pine forest of the Harzer National Park, traveling to the summit of the Brocken, the highest mountain in Germany. The narrow gauge approach in building this line helps to add to the charm of these hard-working little trains.
They decided in history to build a narrow gauge railway line because of the gradients to go uphill, and the other reason was to save money and material, of course. It was originally built to have a contact to the Harz mountain and to the forest to get the goods out of the forest and connect it to the economic of Germany. Maybe transporting goods like wood or stones or something in the ground. The primary mission today is to transport people to the Brocken and to all of the other railway lines to show them how nice is the countryside, to have a nice day for families and to visit the Brocken. When they go to the top of the Brocken, they see a very nice countryside. They go into the forest and have a fantastic view sometimes on the left and on the right. And when they are on the top of the Brocken there is no tree on the top of the Brocken, and they have, when the weather is good of course, they have a good view all over the Harz mountains and to the cities of the Harz.
The Brocken mountain has a very special meaning to the people of Germany.
The Brocken is the highest mountain in the north of Germany. This is very special, and what is the historically part is very special because when the 2 parts of Germany was departed, the wall was going through the Harz mountain. The wall was coming directly through, and so it is a historical point because also Goethe went 3 times to the top of the Brocken and was inspired by his mystical character for his famous work Faust. And also it is very famous for his weather, for his strong weather, strong winds and a lot of snow.
While there are a few diesel-electric locomotives, the main attraction here is steam.
The railroad today owns 25 steam locomotives. 17 of them are built in the 1950s, from 1954 to 1956. These 17 engines are they have about 700 horsepower, which make them the strongest European meter gauge engines. And 10 of them are still running today. They haul all the regular passenger trains to the top of the Brocken and all over the Harz-Querbahn, which is the line from Nordhausen to Wernigerode. And additionally to these 17 engines, the railroad owns 8 historic engines. 4 are Mallet engines, which were part of the first equipment the railroad had in the 19th century. 2 are from 1897. They are still running today, and they are mostly used to haul special trains. These locomotives are built as tank engines because The line is not that long that you need an extra tender to have more water and coal in. So the coal and the water is enough to run all over the line. And the character of the line is mostly in one direction. It goes uphill to the top of the Brocken, and then it comes down all the way. So it's very easy to run a tank engine here. Of course, it takes a lot of effort to keep these historic engines still running. A steam locomotive mostly is a mechanical engine. It needs only water and coal to run, but it also needs repair. And they do normal repairs every some weeks. They have to clean out the tubes and everything. And every 4 years, a big overhaul has to be. And they can do this here in workshops. The railroad has its own workshop. It was built in 1926, and it's still in full operating condition. And it's probably the biggest narrow gauge workshop all over Germany. The railroad owns many passenger coaches. It's enough passenger coaches to build about 10 or 12 trains of them. And the railroad also owns a complete historic train built from 10 green historic passenger coaches.
The line was closed to the public during the Cold War. However, it was still in use during that time to carry supplies to the mountaintop.
After World War II, the Russians were sitting on top of the Brocken, and they built a listening post because it was the highest peak on this border in East Germany. And so they could easily listen all the radio traffic in Western Germany. And they were still on the Brocken until the Berlin Wall came down, until 1989.
Today, the line is open and thriving. Carrying over 1 million passengers a year, the Harz Railway is a big draw for the scenery, the mountain, and of course, the steam locomotives.
This railroad is very unique and will be very soon the biggest steam railroad in the world, because today we have still many steam locomotives running in China on industrial railroads. But when this is finished, there is only this railroad which runs every day with this amount of steam locomotives running at the same time on such a big line like here.
I think you have to visit us, or you should visit us, because we have so much different things here to what you can do. It's not only going on trains or riding trains. You can go on a cab, on a steam locomotive and make a cab ride, and also you can do an education for a few days on a steam locomotive if you want to make a dream come true. That's all what you can do here. It is all possible.